Hello friends, how's everybody doing? Hope that you are doing well. So I wanted to come on here and I wanted to share my experience with COVID. My hope is to um, really hopefully give you some tools of things you could do should you or a family member be down with COVID. I really want to share my story in hopes that it will help you, that it will give you some tools that you can walk away with again if you should find yourself in the situation. I'm going to share what we were doing before, preventatively and proactively. I'm going to share some of my symptoms and what I experienced, and then I'm going to share what I did, and I'm going to share some resources with you as well, should you again find yourself in this situation. I'm not a doctor. I'm a holistic health coach. I know a lot about the immune system. I know a lot about how the body works. I know a lot about the big picture of health. And I have been studying this for the past 18 months, like many others in this field as well. So just know that I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not diagnosing you. I am just sharing my experience and giving you some tools to equip and empower you should you find yourself in this situation. Because I think what we see happening here is you can see that there are people that are in certain situations and those outcomes from that situation is not good. Okay. So I'm not going to speak directly to that. I'm going to kind of let you connect the dots and figure that out on your own. If you need help, feel free to send me a message, but I'm not going to debate on that here. I'm just stating what I'm seeing from studying it and looking at the data and the research and that sort of thing. So that's my stance on that. I do not believe that one size fits all. I believe that we are all different, that we are all unique, that we have bioindividuality, which means we're all different. We're made differently. We're wired differently. What works for one doesn't work for all. Okay. So this again is just a baseline of protocols that I've taken, and I'm going to share those with you as well, of things that I did for myself when I had COVID. So I actually took notes because I really wanted to um, get my point across here, and I feel like it's really easy to not do that. I'm sure by this point some of you are triggered because what I'm going to say is not probably what you've heard, and that will probably upset you. I think it's been really interesting the past 18 months to see who has had an open mind and who is open and receptive to different ways of doing things, because what you're doing isn't working. And that's my journey, right? Like that's my journey with PTSD. That's my journey with equipping and empowering myself in my health and in my family's health. Like that is my story. I had to think outside of the box. I had to be open-minded. I had to look at something that wasn't working and figure out a different way of doing it. And that changed everything for me. It made me more open-minded. And I feel like in today's society, if you dare say anything that doesn't follow the mainstream, watch out, you're canceled. I've experienced it. I'm sure that you have too. So all that to say, if this is going to trigger you, if this is going to bother you to consider an open, mind and a different way of doing things, stop watching it right now. Okay? Okay, back to the story. um, I have come from the philosophy of when we get COVID, not if. I believe that it's a virus. I believe that viruses are contagious. We've seen that, right? So I have had very much the philosophy the past 18 months of what can I really do to equip and empower my immune system? How can I strengthen it so that when we do get COVID, we are prepared. So I've been taking supplements. I've been taking vitamin D. I've been taking zinc. I've been taking quercetin because the quercetin and the zinc work together. I've been taking vitamin C. Okay, so that's what I was doing preventatively and proactively. A few weeks ago, I had just met with a new healthcare provider and I had gotten a prescription for ivermectin. Not the horse pills, a legit prescription from a pharmacy, okay? I wanted this prescription because we are going to Indiana in a few weeks and I wanted to be prepared and I wanted to take this before we went. Ironically enough, I ended up needing it before. So that is what I have been doing preventatively, are those supplements. And then again, the ivermectin was just for the travel, but I ended up using it for, obviously, contracting COVID. So what were my symptoms? I honestly didn't think that I had COVID. I thought that I just had some sort of a virus because ironically enough, this same thing happened to me in Tucson 8 weeks after we had moved there. I remember it was rodeo break and I was down for 2 days in bed and just not feeling well. And, me being me, looked at the amount of time we've been here and I thought my body was having the same reaction. I thought maybe that I just had some sort of a virus that stored up in my body, and in times of, big stress like moves, 8 weeks after the fact, it would happen. Because I actually think it happened in Indiana as well. So when this whole thing started, I didn't think that it was COVID. I could smell, I had some chills, I had some fever, I felt kind of achy, I felt kind of blah. I remember asking my husband, "Do you think this is COVID?" And he was like, "No." And I'm like, "Good, I don't think it is either," because I know that fear suppresses the immune system. And so I didn't want to get into fear, right? And so that's another takeaway. Fear suppresses the immune system. So I didn't think that it was COVID, right? But as the days went on, I think by like day 3 or 4, I had lost my smell. And at that point, it was very clear to me that it was COVID. So I was achy. My butt cheeks hurt, which is kind of weird, but I had started a new workout routine that same day. So I thought maybe it was from the workout. It wasn't, but I just had body aches. I had the fever. I had coughing. I had chills. I had a sore throat. At one point, I thought maybe it was strep. It wasn't. And then I think the worst part for me was the headache. So I was just really achy. My head hurt, just low energy, just not feeling great. But I also wasn't afraid because I knew that I had done things preventatively and proactively that were supporting my immune system. And I knew that in addition to those supplements that I shared with you, I was also not giving into fear. I was resting, I was hydrating, I was listening to my body, and I was doing the basics. The other thing I did was I used this breathe oil from doTERRA, put it on my chest to really kind of open up the lungs because I knew that I didn't want it to get into my lungs, right? Like that's where I think another concern is. And so for that reason, I also didn't sleep on my back and I slept at an angle so that I was kind of upright. So that is what I did. I also wanted to share with you just some resources that might be helpful. Again, should you or a loved one end up having COVID, I don't want you to be afraid. That's not good for your immune system. But some resources that I used on my journey were myfreedoctor.com. That's an amazing resource. They will do telehealth. They treat people preventatively, proactively, prophylactically. So that's an option. They will also treat you if you do have COVID. So just to know that that's a great resource, and it is technically free. They do ask for a donation because it's free. These doctors are donating their time. So myfreedoctor.com is a great resource. FLCCC.net is another great resource. These are the frontline COVID critical care doctors who are the ones who kind of got onto the ivermectin kick. And they have a lot of different protocols for, before if you don't have COVID, you can do preventatively. They have, if you've been exposed, like they have so many great resources on their website. I would definitely check them out. But again, if you do find yourself getting COVID, those are some great resources. I would also suggest resting because your body cannot heal in a stressed out state. So you need to rest. You need to not stress. Hydration is key. You want to stay hydrated for sure. I continued to drink my shakes every day because they gave me some nourishment. I didn't have much of an appetite, but I did have a shake every day. Maybe not a whole one, but I did have some because it's got adaptogens and it's got different things in there to really help your body in times of stress, in times of sickness, to support your immune system. So I really suggest finding some superfoods as well. I didn't exercise. I haven't exercised yet. I probably will next week. But I did move. I didn't just lay in the bed the whole time. I got up and I moved. And I think that's another really key is having some movement. And then again, laying at an angle and laying on my stomach. So I hope that this helps. I know that we're in a really interesting time where people maybe feeling some fear and intimidation, but I don't want you to feel that. I want you to be equipped and empowered, and I want you to be an advocate for yourself. I have a lot more resources on this. If you need anything, let me know. I've got videos of people who their spouse, goes into the hospital and she gives the doctors a different protocol to follow, and he gets out in 3 days. Got lots of resources like that. I've got lots of resources around how what they're doing isn't helpful. So if you need any of that, please let me know. I really could be a binder. I've got so much information. I've been studying this. And again, I just have a different perspective. And I think that's what we need right now. So I hope that you stay well, you stay healthy. If you need anything, let me know. Love you, friends.